do to your hair?
I dyed it at a Green Party rally.
Oh no.
I have a bone to pick with both of you.
Well, mostly Alador. Hi, I'm Kitty Monk, and I'm here to talk to you about the Owl House. Or more specifically, Alador Blight.
And tell Alador he's a hack while you're at it.
I've been meaning to make a video on the Blight Parents for a while. And it's not just because they remind me so much of Jeff and Hayley.
This is you throwing. And this is you catching.
That's wonderful mime work!
These were the two characters I anticipated seeing the most. Well, them and Kikimora, but I have a video planned for her eventually. With season 2 halfway done, something I see on places like Instagram is people demonizing the Blight Parents. As they should. They're abusive, both emotionally and psychologically. They're strict, arrogant social climbers, and they put impossibly high standards on their children.
Now, you'll be taking double the classes to make up for lost time. Actually, I'm appalled that you're not in class right now. What are you thinking?
Notice I'm saying they, in the plural sense. But whereas Ozalia gets most of the hate, I see little, if any, for Alador himself. What's so bad about him? Well, let's discuss. We first meet the Blight Parents in season 1, or more specifically, Amity's memory of them. It turns out most of Amity's problems go back to them. When Amity was a child, she was best friends with Willow, but her local cinnamon roll was bad at magic. Remember how everybody called her half-a-witch Willow?
This is why people call you half-a-witch Willow.
Not half a witch.
At Amity's birthday party, she told Willow to scram.
Then you let your new friends pick on her for years, all because you thought she was weak.
In the same episode, it's revealed Amity didn't do this to be cruel, rather she was blackmailed. Her parents thought a weakling like Willow wasn't worthy of associating with a Blight. If Amity was going to climb every social mountain, she needed to associate with the strongest of witches. Little harsh to put on an 8-year-old, but what if Amity refused?
And if you don't?
Then we will.
We'll make sure the girl is never admitted into Hexside. Now go, and try not to make a scene.
I might sound a little dirty saying this, but I thought season 2 would reveal this was a bluff. Part of this, well, it reminded me of BoJack Horseman. In BoJack, his friend gets involved in a huge scandal. If BoJack threatens to walk, said friend will get to keep his job. But when the time comes, he's bullied into standing aside. In season 6, we find out this is a lie.
I was terrified you were going to call my bluff.
Bluff? All this time, I thought there was nothing I could have done.
I guess I bluffed good.
With the Owl House, we at first don't exactly know what Amity's parents do, or even if they really have that much influence. Principal Bump is pretty understanding, and he always makes exceptions, so I can see the Blight telling him, don't let this girl in, and he does it anyway. Besides, you gotta remember, Amity was still a child. Some parents make harsh threats they ultimately never carry out. It wouldn't change the fact that Blights are still abusive, but this could be what makes Amity finally stand up to them. Oh, I was wrong. In the episode Escaping Expulsion, we properly meet them. They aren't what you would expect.
Welcome, valued investors, to our annual Blight Industries private sale.
I thought we were getting the Maheshwarans, not Steve Jobs. I guess they got revamped, or they changed as time went on. In universe, the Blight Parents own Blight Industries, which sells, well, I'll let Alador explain.
We make a variety of abomination-based accessories for home security,
Oh, that sounds pretty safe.
but we specialize in weaponry.
Ozalia runs the show, and Alador makes the product. Every so often they hold demonstrations, and they use their children as target practice. Hey, at least not abusive yet. I mean, I always help my parents.
Mama to mittens. Remember our deal? Make this look good and we'll forgive your recent lackluster performance in school.
Yes, Mom.
Yeah, that probably counts as abuse somewhere. At one demonstration, Amity drops her MacGuffin photo. Wait, why did she keep it up her sleeve? Why not leave it in her room? But yeah, she lost her parents a ton of money. Ozalia realizes Amity has friends, and she decides to do something about it. Wait, I do have to ask, how is she not concerned Amity isn't hanging out with her pre-approved friends, Basha and Skara?
Won't let Basha and her gang pick on you ever again.
I am super surprised she was never made aware of this. She says Lou's the bad influence, but she doesn't bring up those girls, or think of using them as her flying monkeys. Anyhow, what does Odalia do? Use her authority as PTA to get Luce, Gus, and Willow executed.
I mean expelled.
Oh, thank you, Alador. While we're on the scene, let's go back to Mr. Blight himself. Throughout this video, I've mostly mentioned his wife. That doesn't mean Alador is a non-entity. In most scenes, he's off to the side, bored with it all, constantly trailing off into space. He's exhausted, zoning out, or working on his abominations. The character he reminds me most of is Doug Maheshwaran. He's probably not all that strict, but he still defaults to his wife. Like before, this is intentional, because I don't think Alador is a good parent. Maybe he's a funny character and he has a few redeeming traits, but by no means is he better than his wife. First off, he does nothing to convince her not to be abusive 98% of the time. I mentioned before, but it's like he always dissociates.
So, the PCA has decided...
Oh, right.
Sir, let me spell out for you in a mini rant. You're part of Blight Industries. You're part of the Abomination Coven. Your wife isn't.
She has a point, Odalia.
Didn't you hear me? It won't rest until its enemy is completely eliminated.
You can command the Abomination to stop attacking the innocent human. You made plenty of money. Just say something like, this is a taste of what you'll get if you order now. But you don't, sir. You don't do anything. You know your wife is an oracle, and you know she and your daughter wear similar necklaces. It never crosses your mind she uses it for more than just inside jokes. You don't try to convince her it's wrong to have her track Amity at all times. Sorry, I got a little agitated. Alador is a toxic parent I don't normally see in cartoons, but I think needs more exposure. The enabler. They don't do anything wrong, and that's the problem. Yeah, there's a lot of nuance for this, and honestly, it's a case-by-case thing, but let's stay on track. In the scene in Principal Bump's office, he can clearly see Luce, Willow, and Gus are probably harmless, but he still lets Odalia kick them out, and then send Amity to do twice as much schoolwork. Keep in mind, we don't know how much Amity's grades sank. Honestly, she could have just went from a 3.6 to a 3.5. If that's the case, that's no reason to go to such extremes. And even then, you shouldn't have to go to such extremes in the first place.
How dare you mess with my friends' lives? What have we ever done to you?
We are just trying to teach our daughter a valuable lesson in business.
Just for the record, this aloofness doesn't occur in a single episode. Don't think I'm only using this one plot to demonize him. In the flashback, he makes Amity still hang out with Basha and Skara.
You may choose a new friend from one of the suitable companions we invited.
But they're mean. Just because you work with their parents doesn't mean I have to like them.
Wait, how are you guys work friends if you own Blight Industries and it's a mom and pop business? But you know your daughter is upset and you're just repeating what your wife is telling you to say. Yeah, characterization marches on is likely gonna affect, or you can argue it's Amity's memories, but on screen he still said those things. I think the reason people excuse Alador is between him and his wife, he's the more entertaining. Odalia is a hate sink, a character with intentionally no likable quality or redeeming factors, so it's easier to dislike them or want the protagonist to win. I do like Odalia in a villain sense, but I agree she's both an awful person and an awful mother. Compare her to Alador. Most of the comedy you get from the Blight parents come from him.
Your human language is hard to understand, but I think I see your point. If you're interested in talking things through...
Funny or not, that doesn't change what's going on, or what's happening in his household. What was that thing Transformers Prime said?
Aligning with the lesser of two evils is still siding with evil.
Let me make my point clear. It's fine to find a character who does bad things entertaining or funny, but by no means does that excuse their actions, especially in a cartoon that can get serious. Let's for all the damage Gwen caused, she realized she was in the wrong. Some people think Alador is suffering along with Amity, but we never see that at any point. There's also a scene at the end of the episode that people seem to point to as a reason for Alador getting so much love.
Odalia, you made a deal with your daughter, and a Blight always upholds their end of the deal. She's getting stronger. Strong enough to become a Covenhead someday.
Yeah, this flew over a lot of people's heads. It doesn't redeem Alador or make him a better parent than Odalia. One, he's still abusive at the end of the day, as is his wife. Second, Alador doesn't realize it's wrong to be strict or they're pushing her too far. He just realizes Luz makes Amity stronger.
Wise words, dear. We have to focus on what's best for the family.
Before I end the video, I do want to bring up the Blight Twins. Originally, this video was supposed to be about them, and how the show neglects to tell us how they're treated by their parents.
You're helping? Of course. Just don't tell Mom.
Amity's clearly being abused, but did the same happen to them? Do they dress identically because their parents make them? Or rather, did Odalia make them and Alador was watching a butterfly? Are they just as miserable, if not more so? Do they pull so many pranks because they're ignored, like a reverse Lilith? I wish we got this side.
You're helping? Of course. Just don't tell Mom.
In conclusion, I think Alador is a bad parent, an enabler, entertaining, but that doesn't excuse anything he's done, and I hope more fans acknowledge this.